Good morning and welcome to Phoenix Business Exchange. This fine April 15th day, Monday morning, and that is okay because we're on the right side of the lawn. So let's start the day off. I'm going to share a screen and we're going to kind of see what's happening inside the Phoenix universe and just getting my share screen lined up here. And there we go. It should be showing up on your screen in a second. So this is the Phoenix Business Exchange website. So to get to it is at pbex.ca. And if you're looking from the outside in, come on in or, come on to one of the other meetings. Well, I'm just going to scroll down. Member of the week, Ima Ortega. She'll take your photo. She will print your photo. She's an artisan. So just check her out and check out the information. Going on to visiting any of the four chapters, here's the Monday morning one. If you want to come on in, click that button. It'll lead you right through the Zoom call. We also have one on Wednesday and Thursday morning, 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. May 7th, we have our monthly meeting. It's kind of like, keep us on track of what we're supposed to be doing. Any member from Phoenix is welcome to come in, but you too are welcome to come on in into this space. You look over to the right, you'll see a number of referrals. Year to date, $56,000 worth of business has gone on between our members here. And so that's kind of a handy thing. And so let's go down a little bit more. What else is going on? Well, East Trade wins. That's tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. Mix and Mingle on April 23rd, 6:30 to 8:30. Come on in. That is going to be at High Five Bells Corners. That's an in-person event. Penny Lee's got you moving and shaking your stuff, and that's to keep you healthy and moving. And then Tony has a crystal workshop that's happening on the 24th, and that's at 5:30 p.m. Tony, that's online, correct?
The crystal, yes, that's online. Yep.
Perfect. A QR directory for any of the Phoenix members. So if you see somebody here you want to connect with, and you're going, hang on, I need to talk to that person because I need a dash cam, or I need to sell a house, or I got a tax question because Eric's doing nothing right now during his tax season, and of course if you needed a mortgage, hey, who's your honey, right? And Alex will electrify you, and Susan will just kind of give you the right chemicals to keep your house clean. All right. So top books to read for success. E-cards, 2,600 connections. What does that mean? An e-card, the QR code behind me, the card that you have in your hand. When we share that information, when we share that card, what happens is you share all your information at once, and your client, your guest, your prospect can download that information. They get a hold of you either through text, through email, your website, get more information. Year to date, other information referrals. We've done 167 referrals. Year to date, we've done 187 BAMs. What's a BAM? Well, that's not a hit over the head. That's a business activity meeting. That is where you are chatting with another member of Phoenix, so you understand what they do and get to know them better. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to turn the floor over to Mike. Mike, over to you, sir.
Great. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody had a beautiful weekend. And anybody that loves golf like I do, you probably watched the Masters, and it was a phenomenal weekend at Augusta Golf Course. Today, I want to talk to you about the trigger equation unpacked. So the trigger equation serves to reduce the complexity of personal interactions down to a more manageable level with a single word that's easy to remember, and that word is REAP. And so the equation can be read as REAP, as in regarding to rewards or reaping the harvests of the seeds that you planted and care for. But what does each letter represent, and how does that work for us? So R in REAP is for reaction. This means both the reaction that is caused in by one person, yourself, and the reaction of being responded by the other person. And keep this in mind that most interactions are cyclical. E is for emotion. We all have our emotions, but remember, emotion is simply a physical sensation that accompanies a thought or experience. And A is for attitude. People's attitudes are a composite of their life experiences that is amplified by the actions in the response. For example, the action component could be tone, facial expression, volume, or body language, more or less tonality or physiology. And the P is for perception. And what's perceived is not necessarily the intended message, but rather the message that has been received as a result of the REAP equation. All too often, the perceived message is not the intended message. We've all had that, where we thought we were saying something, but somebody else took it some other way. Emails, actually, when you're not face-to-face, emails, when you write an email or a text, it can be interpreted the wrong way. You might not be able to get your message across. So the equation explains why people react the way they do. And because we are talking about people's reaction, there are in the moment factors involved that can change things up, like what, where, when, why, and how something is experienced in all degrees and all matters. So that's today's education, and just keep that in mind. REAP, and we'll just go over that just quickly again so that you remember. R is for reaction, E is for emotion, A is for attitude, and P is for perception. So today, I think the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Back to you, Bernie.
Mike, thank you so much. And while keeping us in the main thing, here comes the LinkedIn main thing. So you post your content details inside that particular space. And so we're going to start doing a round robin of, hey, who's here and what's been happening in your business, like BAMs, referrals, and stuff like that, and anything you want to highlight. And the fickle finger of fate will swing over to Alex, and then Lana, and then Eric. Alex, over to you, sir.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm Alex from eVolta Electric. We are Ottawa's low-carbon electrical contractor, meaning we focus on EV charging stations, residential, commercial, energy storage solutions, that's big batteries on the side of a building automation. LED lighting is a big one for us, and of course, general electrical work. And in terms of what we've been up to recently, we're developing partnerships with a number of organizations. We're working on a partnership with a solar company right now, which is opening a lot of opportunities for us, which is really, really helpful. We're also working on decarbonizing remote communities as well. We attended a conference the other day about remote communities and how we can help decarbonizing them. In terms of what's been going on with Phoenix, I'm working with AirZone. Got a couple of opportunities going on with AirZone, so we're helping them to electrify their heat pumps. So Alex from eVolta Electric, Ottawa's low-carbon electrical contractor. Thank you.
Alex, thank you so much. Lana, and then Eric. Lana, over to you, ma'am.
Certainly. Good morning, everyone. Lana Burnley. I am a residential realtor here in the entire Eastern Ontario region and have been for the past 23 years. I think it's kind of cool because last week, we had no rate change with the Bank of Canada. So we're still going to wait for those rates to go down, but they did do some other changes with our mortgages. So if you still got a mortgage, actually, it's more so for the first-time buyers, but it's kind of cool that we now have a 30-year amortization back, which makes homeowning a little more affordable, a tiny, and first-time buyers can now borrow more money from their RRSP to buy a house. They can borrow up to $60,000. So those are great. That's great news for first-time buyers, no matter how old you are, even if your children are looking to buy for the first time. So we have a couple really positive changes to the mortgage. Wait a minute, I'm a realtor, but that's okay. I know this stuff because as a mortgage broker or as a realtor, I have to know, because guess what's one of the first things people ask me is how much can I afford? And I send them down to the mortgage honey. Oh, my name's Lana Burnley, residential realtor, and my greatest joy comes from being trusted with your referrals.
Lana, thank you so much. Eric, and then Susan Ebbs. Eric, over to you, sir.
Good morning. First of all, thank you, Bernie, for giving me the introduction. Second of all, no, I'm still sane, even though it's tax season. And third, thank you also, Bernie, for the referral that you sent me. Eric Sonego Professional Group, we're accountants and management consultants. We're located in Canada, although we have clients probably internationally now. We have clients in other parts of the world. We have clients in Vancouver. We have clients in. I just did a return for someone in Newfoundland. So we are pretty into people's lives sometimes this time of the year. We find that the people who come to us are individuals who need help with their complicated tax returns. You know, with the exception of Tony, who is a guy that I know from soccer, who calls me supposedly to give help for his friend that has a tax problem, and I know it's Tony, right? but I play along with him. Also, we do most of the work I do. In fact, is corporate taxes and financial year ends for businesses who want to do better than they're doing now. We are bracing for a decline in interest rates because we are no different than we were in 2019. We, as far as I know, we are 4 years older than we were in 2019. So interest rates tend to be demographic, you know. And what happened when history is written will be how the government safeguarded the banks. Because if you remember, in 2018, the banks were screaming that Canadians had these locked-in savings that they were not spending. Remember that? And banks said, how do we go to it? How do we go to it? Well, one other way to go to it is to increase real estate rates. And they do that by not giving money to developers, by not giving money to contractors. A lot of the people that I do that build houses, that build 4 and 5 houses, to this day cannot get adequate bank financing. So what's, you know, sooner or later, you know, that's going to come to light, and we're going to realize that, you know, maybe the people who are custodials of the money are not the best people to tell us how much the money should cost. For this and other insights into financing, you can call me at 613-254-7310. Everything else is on the chat line.
Eric, thank you so much. Susan Ebbs and then Mike. Susan, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Hello, Susan Ebbs from Total Renewal, and I've affiliated with a company from melaleuca.com, and we're a global company open in 22 countries. We help you to shop online for all your normal household shopping. We have a special product today that I wanted to show. I was going to say finance, Eric. This one's called Pre-Spot. And you would use this on, say, if your husband comes home from working in the construction field, and he's got that awful ring around the collar. You just rub Pre-Spot in before you do your wash, let it sit for a bit, and then throw it in with your normal wash, and it will get that ring around the collar gone, totally gone. It is amazing how fast it disappears. Pre-Spot is concentrated, 4 times concentrated, and the way it works is with a natural hydrogen peroxide. We are looking to get the toxins out of your home, help you to stay clean, and get that spring cleaning underway. So Susan Ebbs with melaleuca.com.
Susan, thank you so much. And over to Mike. And then Jacqueline. Overhead. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Bernie. Morning, everybody. Mike Vlosky here with NW Motivational Life Coaching. As a professional life coach, I've created ironclad approaches based on scientific principles, basically to educate individuals and have them surpass the understanding that they have of themselves. And what does that really mean? Well, in my world, my clients and contacts, the biggest challenge is escalating anxiety. And through my proven coaching approaches, I'm able to support and guide these clients to turn their anxiety into adrenaline. A good referral for me are individuals you might know that are struggling to overcome their emotions, and which keeps pulling them off track in their life. And basically individuals that are always taking a half step instead of living at full stride. So Mike from MWM, Motivated by Results, and I'll put my information in the chat. Thank you.
Mike, thank you so much, Jacqueline. And then we're swinging over to Dwight. Jacqueline, over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. And so I'm sensing we all took a long, deep breath and we did lift our shoulders and we did take them back and we did release them down and we allowed ourselves to take power of our finances. And it's great. Thank you, Eric and Lana, for talking about what everyone's talking about. How do we finance? How do we find a house? How are the builders doing? Will they actually be able to complete their tasks because they had the financing, not just from the banks, but from those who are going to buy their products? I ask everyone to take a long, deep breath and think about what your next steps are. Where's the down payment? Are you going to borrow it? Do you need to take a step into renting for another year? These are the questions I get to ask. And these are the questions I hope people are comfortable with answering. When you're looking for strategies for your mortgage money, you have to contact your mortgage honey.
Jacqueline, thank you so much. Dwight, over to you, sir. And then we will swing over to Sam. Dwight, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Dwight Thompson here from Tape Sweet Life Business Stadium. Urban Business Stadium. My wife and I started a company a little bit over 8 years ago, and we do vegan catering, plant-based Canadian vegan catering. London, we do meals for clients, and we do this on a consistent basis. This past weekend, we were down at Lansdowne, and it was basically a week getting through that, and turned out to be an extremely busy day. Our featured product has been for the last few months the Jamaican patties, and they're a huge seller at the market, and our clients continue to ask for that. This past, as you mentioned, this past weekend, we're fully indulged in the market space, and this coming week we have a few more catering gigs that we will be attending. Well, for now, that's Dwight, Tasty Life Business Catering.
Dwight, thank you so much. Sam, over to you.
Thank you, Bernie. Good morning, everyone. Sam Stores, connectedcars.ca. There's my contact information in the chat. Well, my main thing is dash cameras. A device like this in your car saves you in case of an accident. Can prove your innocence when someone's pointing a finger at you. Besides that, I do minor repairs on vehicles, and these days I'm doing lots of tire changes, getting lots of exercise, putting on those tires and taking off the snow tires. So if you don't want to sit in line for an hour or two, or even more, and have some teenager mess around with your car, I can do that work, and I can check your brakes at the same time and tell you whether your brakes are functioning properly or not. Besides that, let's see here. Things going on in the last week. Well, Q was here and told people last week she came here after being told by a dealership in town that she needed brakes, only to find out she didn't need brakes. Saved her a couple $100 right there. But I did do her oil change. Alex, I still continue to advertise for you with your pamphlets with each of my receipts. And I want to say thank you to Dwight for sending off that recipe for me. So we're going to enjoy your recipe, your bean dish. Thank you very much for that recipe. That's it for me, Sam Sturz, connectedcars.ca. Today's mobile electronics without the cost of a new vehicle, and lots more.
Sam, thank you so much. And I'm just going to swing over a couple quick things. If you actually check out the LinkedIn page, you'll see that who's presenting this week. So one of the things Kat Hurd's been uploading are who the speakers are for the given week. So you get a sense of who's going to do today next. So if you're finding your posting in there, you should add some more juice to it and saying, hey, either what you're talking about or what you're looking for. Anyhow, just a quick aside. What do I do? Well, I talk to people. I talk to a lot of people. And in fact, part of the deal is I connect those people. And I also then start doing something else. I do a podcast, Knack for Business, and having chats with people. In fact, Jacqueline, thank you for being my guest on Friday. At the last minute, had an opening. Ta-da! We filled the void, and it was a perfect session. Loved it. It was just excellent. Also involved with the Property Wizard podcast. It's about investing in real estate space and understanding what the pitfalls and what the things to look for and how to have a successful experience in that environment. I'm going to stop and I'm going to swing us over to our speaker for today, Tony. Over to you, sir.
Hey. Thank you, Bernie. I'm going to play Shane's video too here, his intro. So let's see what Shane has to say. And here we go.
Guys, nice to see everybody this morning. Thanks again for the details about sending about emails and stuff. It's so complicated now with all the cyber stuff and security. And my goodness, well, thanks, Josh, for all those details. I'm Shane Billis. I'm Pro Action Health and Performance. And I just wanted to mention we have a physiotherapist, Neha. She's been working with us since August. She's pretty fabulous. She does a lot of our GLAD, which is the hip and knee arthritis program, which is our exercise kind of program that's been researched and done by Denmark and been passed down, and we're all certified in our clinic to do that. But she also does pelvic floor. So a lot of people don't know pelvic floor. You can do pelvic floor from externally or internally. Most females actually do this, but for really good for people that are pregnancy, having low back pain, incontinence, all the different things that some people don't even want to talk about really. But she does a really great job with all of them. We've had great feedback from them. And it's really great for people to come in during those times of, I might be, thinking about, having a baby or not having a baby or afterwards. And I even have a sister-in-law who doesn't jump on trampolines anymore. So it's something that you love to do, guys, and you want to, get back to the activities that you love, especially after pregnancy or back pain that accompanied it or during it. Come see her. She's got some great insight into it, and I can always hook you up to her for her to call you and give you more information about the pelvic floor going forward. And even when we talk to some of the doctors that we know upstairs in our office, they're really excited about it because, it's kind of a new thing coming out, and a lot of people don't know about it. So help you, go through those pregnancies pain-free or at least more comfortable can be really important, especially for the husbands, that they don't get, hit with a stick or anything like that. Anyways, talk to you soon. I'm Dr. Shane Billis. Remember, we get results, so come see us. Hey guys, nice to see everybody.
Okay. Hi, everybody. As you know, my name is Tony Jennis. I'm the spirit guy of the group. And it's amazing how long I've been doing this. It's actually not quite that long. 15 years in this industry doesn't seem like a long time, but it sure has gone fast. Coming from a residential moving sort of a background where you used to move furniture and pianos and all that stuff, now we're moving energy. I'm not sure which is harder. There's certainly a lot to it and more than I thought when I started. The evolution was that, starting off in a feng shui class that I was really growing my business very rapidly. And I just sort of taught myself feng shui on books and some of the things on TV and just did what I could to try to make it so that things would really amplify because we were really having a hard time in the mid 90s in that area. We were like we started that moving company. By the time we got to 2001, we were actually spending double what we were bringing in. It got to the point where my wife came to me and she says, "We got to do something. We can't keep doing this." We were just dipping into our savings all the time, and I said, "Look, I'm working 18 hours a day, pretty much 7 days a week for years. Never took a day off. You would know the time when someone says you don't have time to get sick, and that's kind of what it is. It's you just kind of go. You have a family to support, that they're important to you, so you just keep going. So a sniffle or even falling out of the truck backwards, like I did one time, you just get up and shake it off, and you keep going. when we get through that, I remember coming home for lunch, and I was just trying to find different ways of bringing in new types of business and so on. And I passed what Ellen was, my wife was watching a show on Oprah, and it was this feng shui consultant from China. And all I heard was, as I'm passing the living room, in those 5 seconds, just to pass to get to the kitchen, I says, and this is how you make money in your home. And that's all I had to hear. So I sat down and listened to it sort of just mildly. And it was very interesting the way this person was talking. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but I'm in the country. Nobody comes to my home. And so I was really puzzled in the beginning how this all works out. And so that part of it, we realized, oh, okay, so this is something like a remote. It's like a barometer. If you look at how a thermometer works, it shows you the temperature of the outside air through a window. That way you don't have to go outside and say, yeah, it's 40 below out there, all right. When we look at a thermometer, it's not the thermometer that you're looking at, it's the temperature of the air. You want that broken down into a measurement. So you could watch it and realize and assess for yourself whether or not it's cold enough for you to go out. Either it'll be on with a coat, or we're going to wear shorts. And your home is much like that, where your home is a barometer of what's happening in your outside world. It's saved me so many times. I remember at one point I actually sold my moving company and did very well in the sale. So I had some extra money around, and some people could have caught wind of that. And at one point, I remember one of my acquaintances, I can't really say it's a friend, but I knew the person. I've seen him a few times, and they had this deal where you could, it's a $50,000 buy-in, and within 3 months, you could double your money. Now, it all sounds good. And when I looked at all of the facts and figures, everything seemed to jive as far as, the story that was going on. So, and I knew enough about feng shui to say, okay, let's meet at your home. Let's find out more about this, and we could talk about more about your deal. And when I got in, he had asked if I would like a coffee. I said, actually, I'll take a tea, because I know tea takes longer, right? So while he was doing that, I sort of scoured, sort of passed by his money section. There is a money section in the home, and there is a love section in the home. And it was the exact opposite in what I was seeing to what the person was saying. So I figured, okay, if there's a discrepancy just in the home, and you could read a person's bank account by that. So I was able to do that, and he was in a negative, and that's not what they're doing. That's not what he was saying. So after he gave me the presentation again, I says, I'm gonna wait and just see how things work out. I still have some commitments, and I came up with some excuse anyway. Within about 3 weeks, found out that this person's wife had left with his best friend and took everything. Because the love area was off and the money was off. So that made a lot more sense. And so I was able to read this before I got into this. So that saved me 50 grand. And all I did was read a few books. Okay. When that happened, I said, okay, I got to do this a little deeper. So after going through that, going to the first course in New York, was Nancy Centropietro. She was an author and a well-known feng shui person. And I think I said, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. It was a 2-year program. Now, when I walked in, I went there the night before, and when I walked in to the conference room, I was the first one in, and they said, "Oh, hi, Tony." And I go, "How do you know my name?" "Well, you're the only guy." And I was surrounded by 27 women, which sounds like it was a really ideal situation for a guy. But after going through the first morning, the first thing we started off was we were going through sharing our life and why we're here, right? And I was about third last. I was in the back row. I just didn't want to be noticed that much. So And every woman that talked about their life had something to do with what a man had done to them. Grandfather, father beating them, verbal abuse, domestic violence, and it just went on and on and on. I got holy, and I guess I led a very sheltered life. I was always told to respect women, and my father was really angry when he caught wind that I didn't open doors for women. It just a thing you would do for anybody, but particularly women, because they are the goddesses of this earth. They are everything to this earth. Men grow better with a woman or with a partner, with that female energy. So I was always raised that way, and when going through that, I could not believe what a man would do to a woman, so much. I heard of domestic violence, and this was in the 70s and 80s. But you wouldn't know until you talk to many women. And by the time it got to me, I wasn't very proud being a man. I guess that's when it really came down to it. And I had a great life. I got to admit, my parents celebrated me. Anything I ever wanted, I was the only child for the first 10 years of my life. And I could get anything. I had, like 7,500 pictures taken of me. When my sister came, she had about 40, sort of thing. And it was just so different. And if I wanted to play hockey, no problem, son. We'll get you all the equipment. You can play hockey. If you want to play soccer, you want to do anything. So I had a lot of support, and I thought everybody lived that way, right? Until you get to the reality. This was an exception than the rule. This is why I feel always so good about myself, because I had 10 years of solid, positive, hey, your son, you're great. I know you're going to, what do you want to do? You're going to be a photographer. You're going to be the best. That's all I was told. And then after a while, I believed it. And, you walk around and you just feel that you're like that. So no matter what gets a person down, those 10 years, and I think scientists say it's the first 3 years that represents about 50% of your attitude and everything in your life, the first 3 years of life. And I had nothing but positivity. My parents were immigrants from Hungary. When they came over, and they spoke Hungarian, so I spoke Hungarian for the first 5 years. Going into kindergarten and then grade one, I failed grade one because I didn't know the language. It just, and all my dad said was, "It's okay. They just don't know how great you are yet. Just wait till you get into your steps, and or like Mike would say, your stride, and you'll do great." And so I couldn't do anything wrong, and it was so great to have that kind of support. And it shows that supporting anyone makes a huge difference. It really does. And anyway, after I got through to the feng shui course, one of the electives was we had to choose a certain specialty to incorporate feng shui with anything you wanted. Some people wanted to do essential oils. And you got to realize by this point, it's been about 5 or 6, advanced classes. And these ladies were amazing. They just, when we did angel therapy, I don't know if anybody is into that. Oh, we had an angel therapy class, and everyone knew all the angels. I didn't know anything. It was just like, it was embarrassing. So he says, "Tony, what kind of angel do you want today?" I didn't even know them. I says, "Well, is there a guardian angel?" He says, "No, we're doing archangels. Do you know any of them?" I says, "Well, I know there's a Michael, but that's all I know." He says, "Okay, we'll do Michael." And so so these women were great. They knew all about crystals, which I knew nothing. So I was really green in this particular subject. I thought we were going to talk about feng shui, but when we looked at it, it's all about energy. Doesn't matter when, and they really wanted to broaden the scope of how energies work. And feng shui is just one of many, many hundreds of ways you could become and program success in your life. You could do it through, of course, mental power. You can do it through quantum touch, and there's a whole host of EFTs and tapping, and there's many ways to get there. But it's all going in the middle. The middle is the light, and all these other modalities are on the outside, and you're always going towards the center. So it doesn't matter what direction you're going, as long as you're moving in that direction. Feng Shui was one of them, but they really wanted to broaden out. By this point, I had to choose something. I said, well, I really don't know much about angels yet. But so how about essential oils? I said, that's not really my thing. And I was trying to grasp me for my masculinity because and then when somebody said, how about tuning forks? Would you like to learn about that? Tuning forks. And he says, I don't know. But Tony, it comes with a tool belt. I'm in. I'm in. I got hooked on tuning forks because of the belt. Okay, because it was like like the workshop belt. He says, "Oh, finally, I got something." And then I said, "Do these forks do anything?" Oh, yes, it has quite the history. The frequencies that these guys emit is for thousands of years old. It goes way before biblical times. It was used in many of the indigenous tribes, in native tribes throughout the world. There's even a tuning fork carved in stone when the Egyptians had it, and that was back in 5,000 years ago. They were using now how they made tuning forks to have a specific frequency 5,000 years ago blows my mind. But anyway, lot of things happen that makes no sense, but they came through it. A lot of the sounds frequencies, like the most common one is the ohm. Okay, that's at 136.1 hertz. That's the vibrations per second. And it's a very specific sound. It's actually the sound of our Earth rotating on its axis, brought down about 90 octaves so that we can hear it. That tuning fork looks a little bit like this. It's a weighted tuning fork, and it is amazing. It is a grounding sound. It does so much for mental health. I saw one in the doctor's office once, and I says, "This is an ohm tuner. Where'd you get this?" He says, "Oh, I just picked it up at a flea market." I said, "Do you know what this does? This basically solves mental health." He says, "Really? I tap people's knee with it." Really? Okay, well, I can see you're using a gold bullion as a doorstop, okay, but I'm not going to comment on this, but this is a very powerful tool. When I went in there, I told him a little bit about it, and I says, depending on where you put the fork, because this particular one's weighted, when you hit it, the stem vibrates as well. So you could put the stem anywhere, and it actually creates nitric oxide, which when you talk to Susan, it brings that oxide to the surface, and it's a health thing. It really, but it's in a vibration form. When I have somebody who's going through trauma, especially kids, when they go through a trauma, one of the first thing I do, without even talking or anything, I just said, why don't you hit this and put it on your ear? And then where in your body you want to put it? Most times they put it on their heart. Most times, 9 times out of 10, they put it on their heart because kids know. They just know this stuff. It's when we get older, we start forgetting how great we are. And I said, these forks are amazing. And once you start looking at all of the frequencies, I use about roughly 22 different frequencies. But the ohm is one of them. That's one of my best. If I have to do anything, I usually grab my ohm tuner and a few other ones, and I'm pretty much set to go. So I can go to a hospital bed. I can go to someone's home if they've fallen and they can't come to me and they don't like Zoom or they don't have a computer. And for the elderly, that's usually common. So I'll go to them. So it's been quite an experience going through this to get to the tuning forks. I guess Feng Shui had to lure me in, and I love Feng Shui, but I really adore the frequencies. And as I was getting more into it, the frequencies actually make you become more intuitive. In the beginning, I didn't know anything. We would walk in with my son, my daughter at the time, and my wife to a crystal place, and they would put a crystal in their hand and says, "Oh, Dad, you got to feel this. This is so soothing." I put it in my hand. I didn't feel anything. Sorry, guy. And grounding ones and the different crystals, and now I can feel it from even a distance away. But then it was just not in the cards at all. So when they found this one crystal, it was called prehnite. It's a special stone used by healers. And you don't want to put this in your pocket for very long because it creates a headache. It's such a high vibration. My wife had it in her hand for about maybe 30 seconds, and she says, "Oh no, I got to put this down. I'm starting to get a migraine." Well, I had it on me all day. I bought one, I had it on me all day, didn't even feel anything. In fact, I took all the beads that it came with and I made a necklace. There's over 100 of them, and I wore it all day. Didn't do anything. I did feel a little bit buzzy, almost like you've had one little shot of scotch or something. But that's all it did. It didn't do anything. So for me, I haven't met anybody that took longer to connect than myself. It took a long, long time. But when it hit, I was told this after, when certain males, when they get it, when they finally get the vibration, they somehow find this bottle of NOS or this acceleration, and all of a sudden you kick that in, and I just started flying. I got to the point where within a week, I was able to sense what was happening in other people's home. I could walk into someone's home, and the home would talk to me. He says, "Yeah, we there's a stagnant area, which means that in one area of the home, and if it's a good friend of mine that knows me, and I could ask the permission, and it's okay." He says, "Dude, you got to do something with that the porch in the back. There is a loose step. The second one's loose." He says, "How would you know that?" He says, "I don't. Your house told me." He'd go outside. He said, "This looks fine." I says, "Well, stand on the second step." He stood on it and it started creaking. And when he jumped up and down, crack, crack. Oh boy, okay, I got to get that fixed. And then he realized, "Gee, you've never been to my home. How would you know?" I says, "I don't know." So when I started to really connect, I said, "Okay, I got to really start doing this." So when I got into meditation, it took me a long time to get into that too. I was one of those that if you meditate, I fall asleep. That happened to me all the time because I was always tired, right? And so when I listened to meditation music and different things, singing bowls, and they were okay, but it still didn't, like, I had that nos in me. I had that high energy, and it didn't really speak to me. And then it occurred to me, maybe there's something I could incorporate in my meditation that has tuning forks in it. And that's when things really started going. It does about 95% of the work. All you have to do is listen to the soundtrack, and you would get an amazing result. So one of the things that happened last week was our eclipse. We had an eclipse last week, and since then I've been going nuts. I'm just like a bat in a dark room, just flying against the walls and so on. So I was really going through some tough times on Saturday and Sunday. Hardly anything got done because there was just so much energy. It's like someone screaming at you, and you're trying to concentrate on one thing, and it's just I had to slow things down and everything else. The tuning forks really helped. So I created a special eclipse meditation. Okay. And actually, now that I'm going through this, I was going to play you the show that I did on eclipse. I usually do on the Friday at on the Fridays that I usually do. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the I'm actually going to play you the soundtrack for that show instead. So let me just bring that up now that I have that. Okay. In there. Ba-ba-ba-bum. Mm. Now we'll see if you can hear this one. I don't know if the sound will go through, but let's try it. Okay, sit back, relax, and for about 10 minutes or so, I just want you to listen to this. You don't have to go into a meditative state. The tuning fork does all the work. Just listen to the soundtrack, and in the background, you'll hear many levels of tuning forks and sounds and frequencies. And what I want you to do is, it really makes it more powerful by saying the words over and over again in your head. I am the sound of space. Because when I did this, Spirit wanted to get the sound of the distance between the sun and the earth. There's space in there, the universe. And we know that the universe is not silent. There's noises and there's bangs and dings and dongs, and NASA has recorded them for quite some time. So there's sound in space. And so when you're listening to this, I want you to just say to yourself, I am the sound of space. We're part of it, part of the universe. And let's see how you feel. Okay, take a deep breath and let's have some fun. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this. Oh, wait a sec. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, hang on. All right, just one sec here. Somehow my sound doesn't work directly that way. Okay. Let's go the other way here. Let's try this one. That was most of that song. How do you feel? You feel anything? Any calmer, about the same? Okay. The
I
more
feel
time
fine.
it was sort of a time release piece of work. In other words, the more time you hear it, other things start coming up. I've already listened to it about 8, 9 times, and every time I listen to it, something new comes up. So it's like another something comes out, like a layer. Um, so it's great when you could get a piece of music that you can embed something, and most of it is inaudible. You can't hear it. There's about 12 layers of frequencies in there, and there's some that you could hear, but many of them is all something your body will pick up, and it's so subtle, and that's the point. It doesn't have to blare in your face. It's subtle, and it just starts washing your car. You know, when you come in after being in the mud field, I don't know if you've ever had a truck that you could go in and just do anything you want with, and you come back full of mud. You all you need to do is put clear water on top of the car, and as the water runs down it, there's dirty water coming out. So it's very subtle. You don't have to use a scouring thing. It's just clear water. And this is what it's like. You're just putting clear water on you, and anything is heavy and you want to let go, it just comes off. Okay. So anyway, that's my thing for today. I hope you liked it. If you want to get a copy of that, I have it on. It's on iHeartRadio podcast. They're in 15 stations right across. I could send you the link if you like, and it's called the Eclipse Meditation. Hope you like it.
Tony, thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions? Or, you know what,
Sure.
looking at the top. Go ahead, Mike.
Just one quick one. You sent us last week the moon meditation. Was that the same? The moon and
The moon frequencies are in this one because it's the sun, the moon, and the earth all have to align, and all those frequencies are in there. Plus, like other ones that will tweak your intuition, open up various parts of your system that will start to see and feel things easier. But yeah, that is in there. But the moon is good as well if you're in a state where you want to bring in more intuition, more instead of where you don't want to move forward so much. It's that stepping back and reflecting more energy.
I'll
The
listen
sun
to
is
it.
very
I'll
yang,
listen.
it's very in your
Yeah.
face.
I'll listen to it when I'm on the golf course with ear pods.
Yeah, it might even improve the game, but I can't see how you can improve 78.
Yeah. What about the back nine?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, quote for the day. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And that's from Helen Keller.
Hey, perfect.